Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Kirby and the Forgotten Land. But is it forgotten when we're literally looking at it right now?
Y- you know what I thought of the first time I saw this overworld map, by the way? The level select screen, not this, was Sonic and the Lost Worlds. uh,
You see, if we're talking about a Forgotten Land, that certainly qualifies.
yeah, I can barely remember it. Man.
Yeah, I don't really remember what the overworld in that game looked like.
Well, it was a bunch of hexagons that went from like world to world in the same general direction that Kirby's world map here is going. So you just sort of progressed into the horizon, in a semi 3D space, but like the level themes are fairly similar there. Only these are obviously more imaginative takes on it. Like, there was a tropical world, there was a desert world, there was that kind of stuff. But here, we're obviously seeing like a lot more detail being put into those ideas.
Yeah, it's all pretty typical Kirby levels, but they do a good
That
job.
that looks like a Pokemon.
The alligator, it does kind of look like it could be like a Gen 3 or 4 Pokemon.
It looks like a less fiery version of the fire starter from this generation, actually. Because like the fire starter is a little stubby-legged crocodile. This just looks like a really pissed off version of that. Maybe the shiny, I don't know.
Yeah, but like Kirby's had like, the basic grass, tropical, snow type levels before, of course. I think the third level in particular is definitely has novelty going for it. But honestly, this particular level is a little bit less of it. This is probably the most generically like tropically stage out of this world. But like they combine it with like a water processing plant and treatment plant in the later stages to make it more unique.
One of the things that I find that Kirby and the Forgotten Land does that I appreciate is it's sort of the same thing that Crash 4 did, in that each world has its own dedicated level theme, but each act within that world, for want of a better word, has its own sub-theme. And it feels like you're going through different locations within the same general geographical area. Like, all of this is the tropical world, technically, and all of the last world was the ruined city world, technically. But within the ruined city, you went through like a particular city series of city streets. Then you went through a mall, that kind of thing. And here, it's pretty much the same thing. I don't remember off the top of my head what locations you go through in the tropical area.
So like you have this beachy area, and then you go through like a place that's mostly water, and there's like oil rigs out in there, and then you go into like a water treatment plant.
I remember.
There's at least one other one that I'm not remembering off the top of my head. The amusement park is the easiest one to see how they do this, because you start in like the amusement park streets, and then you go into like the go-kart ride, and then you go into the water, like the water ride, and then you go into like the dark ride, and then it ends with like the Main Street Parade if you've ever been to Disney World.
I appreciate it when games use this level design philosophy, though, in particular because like in the past, recycling level themes was, in the truest sense of the word, recycling level themes. The game developers were doing it because at the time they had 1 year to make their games. Anything longer than that was considered unusual and too much of an investment for a video game. So they would make like 3 haunted house levels for their Gex game, and they would all be radically different mechanically, but they would be using the same graphics assets. But here, in the year 2022, where investors don't lose their shit if you take more than a year to make a game, unless it's Pokemon, we see a lot more like imagination within concepts.
Yeah.
Where the tropical world isn't just the tropical world because they can make 3 graphical assets that are tropical themed and copy paste them for 3 hours. It's the tropical world because you can do so much within a tropical setting, you know?
Yeah. It's like one of those things like, why are there so many caves in Pokemon? It's because they had cave graphics and they needed to make an extra dungeon, so might as well make the dark cave look exactly like the other cave, you know? It's like they had to do what they could.
Mount Moon and the Cerulean Cave, yeah, there's no difference.
Yeah, pretty much, you know. And like, why does the power plant, like the power plant actually is one of the only places with its own graphics, now that I'm thinking about it. It's just like but yeah, I agree. It also, like I was talking about, it makes the world feel more cohesive, which is something that I always appreciate.
This Waddle Dee made me laugh.
Oh yeah, this one.
Just complete the sign.
Yeah, that was one I didn't figure out on the first run through. They were like, complete the sign on the rooftop, and I'm like,
what does that mean?
And then, yeah. We haven't really talked about it yet, but I think Mouthful mode is a really charming and cute idea. I would say it's still not the most interesting like gimmick that they've done.
Well,
for the series.
It's meant to be sort of like capture mode from Odyssey.
Yeah, that's what they were going for.
But it's a lot more specialized, and it feels more like situational power-ups than that did.
Yeah, it's kind of meant to feel like an extra handful of copy abilities too. And it's mostly, there's also like a huge element of like, oh my god, Kirby swallowed a car. Isn't that cute?
Also terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I feel bad, like poor guy, like that's gotta hurt, like having his mouth open, like for, you know, however long this takes.
It's a really interesting combination of the usual like Kirby elements of insane cuteness combined with Lovecraftian horror.
Only played more for comedy in this instance.
Well, it's always played for comedy. That's what makes the combination work at all. But
yeah,
like it's a novel way to express that combination. Is what I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I just but like compared to like especially the Robobot mode, where that was so fleshed out and felt like a continuation of like, it felt like the Robobot mode felt like something that was fully fleshed into the game. This definitely more feels like, oh, you've got a ring mouth section, you've got a pipe mouth section, so on and so forth. So
yeah.
And they're still fun. I'm not trying to say that it's like a bad design thing or anything like that. Like, they're all pretty fun segments. It's just, you know, it's not revolutionary in any way. So, when they inevitably make a sequel, I hope that if they, like, your game doesn't need to have a gimmick. So, like, don't feel like you need one unless you have an interesting idea.
Can we talk about the frickin' Shenmue gotcha machine for a second, though?
Oh, dude, I love the gotcha machine. And then when you beat the game, you unlock a Waddle Dee who you can pay real money for him to give you the specific gotchas that you haven't picked up yet. And like, you might be playing this game and wondering like, why do I have so much money? I can never spend this much money. The gotcha machine is the reason why you have that much money, because you will run out and will need to grind money in order to get all of them, which I have.
And you can only display 3.
I know, and there's so many good ones too, especially once you get to the end game and you get like, because you'll get a special one for like clearing all of the mini games in the town. Like when you clear the fishing mini game, like you'll get one of Kirby holding the fish, and I think you get like one of the grocery store Waddle Dee when you finish the serving mini game and stuff like that. And they're all so cute.
That was rough though. That's like I paid so much money for the other gotchas, but that felt like the most expensive one.
Yeah, the Kirby earns minimum wage machine is one of the hardest mini games.
Yeah, like the beginner level is really easy, but trying to master
no, and Did you get to the Kirby's Tilt and Tumble minigame? Where you
motion controls.
It's like what's the minigame from Twilight Princess with the ball? It's like one of those sorts of things. Like the things that Super Monkey Ball is based off of in real life. Only it's Kirby.
I don't know. The thing is, I actually didn't finish this game. I got like maybe a third of the way through it, and then I got sidetracked by another game, and then I was doing doing editing for John's review, and that kind of spoiled the entire game for me.
So you lived it vicariously through that.
Yeah, so I didn't feel the need to jump back into Forgotten Land after that.
Yeah, I would say that's fine. It's a very solid and fun 3D platformer, but I would say like gameplay wise, there's not like anything spectacular or majorly different about the later stages. They're just like slightly harder.
On the subject of that review spoiling things, I do want to apologize to some viewers because it honestly never occurred to me that a glimpse of any of the post-game boss recolor things would count as a spoiler to some people.
I forget which one was shown. I mean, the fact that there's a hard version of the boss shouldn't be a big surprise to anybody who's played Kirby, because every game does that. Like if you're showing like the new ones, then that's a different story.
My point is, I probably should have taken a little time to try and research what Kirby fans would have seen as spoilers before I edited that video.
At the very least, you didn't do the stupid Prosophia 4 corners and then the final boss right in the middle, so you actually can't look up anything related to the game until you actually like beat it. Shit, I hate that, for the record. Please don't put spoiler images in your thumbnail. Or if you're gonna do it, at least be funny about it. Cause one of the videos that I saw when Splatoon 3 came out was Splatoon 3 spoilers that aren't spoilers. And the thumbnail for that was a really, really big teddy bear plush that has a tiny head. And if you don't know why that's a Splatoon spoiler, then that's great. But if you do know why that's a Splatoon spoiler, then you'll think it's funny and you'll laugh. So yeah.
That sounds to me like one of those things that it only seems like a spoiler once you know what it's about.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, so unrelated news, Splatoon 3, very good. You should play it. Talk about, like, we've been talking about between parts, like Breath of the Wild styled stuff like Sonic Frontiers and Scarlet and Violet. What am I doing here? Oh, I'm looking for the hidden like upgrades and stuff in the overworld. Okay. All right. I'm glad I'm not going crazy. Any case, yeah, like Splatoon 3's overworlds even sort of feel Breath of the Wild-y. So we're getting to the point where like that game start, like all of the games that saw Breath of the Wild and were like, we need to copy this, are now like all out. You know.
Breath of the Wild is copying Breath of the Wild.
Oh man, Tears of the Kingdom is such a Breath of the Wild ripoff. It's crazy.
Kirby.
Did they? Oh, hi Clement. Did they show any Tears of the Kingdom stuff at the Game Awards last night, or?
Nope.
Okay, because
as far as Nintendo goes, they announced a Bayonetta spinoff and Fire Emblem DLC.
Okay. But that's it.
It's probably a good thing that they didn't announce anything at the Game Awards, because I hear things got a little weird.
At the very end, yes.
I saw that Bill Clinton was trending, and I was like, did he die?
No.
Apparently, there was this kid who gate crashed and stole the mic, and then got carted off.
Yeah, on the last award of the night for Game of the Year.
Yeah, and then, like, rapid fire immediately after this, people found out various things about this person. that ranged from awkward and funny to actually disgusting. And basically the whole thing just became a really, really strange sour mark on the evening.
Yeah, I mean, I never have really watched the Game Awards. It's just not something I've ever thought was interesting. Although I do find it funny when people complain about the Game Awards in that, like, they matter. Like, the Overwatch community was very upset that Splatoon 3 beat Overwatch 2, even though the Overwatch community also seems to
Overwatch
agree
2.
that Overwatch 2 was bad. So I don't get, like, I don't get that one all the way, to be perfectly honest.
I'm mostly there for the announcements.
I saw some people saying that Sonic Frontiers should have got what it was nominated for. I'm just kind of surprised that it was nominated for anything at all.
What happened was it was Player's Choice, which is purely the fan vote award.
Oh, but then
what happened was Genshin Impact is there, which is, you know, what your opinion on it, you're there, whatever. I just don't think it should have been there because it's a 2-year-old game. So why is it there?
So, yeah, I mean, Kirby, speaking of the Game Awards, won Family Game of the Year?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
What else was nominated?
Switch Sports,
Okay.
Mario Rabbids, Lego Star Wars, and I think one other thing.
Okay, so not exactly the most,
It's the family award is pretty much the Nintendo award.
I'll give the current Lego Star Wars some props though. It's actually like really good humor.
I mean, Lego Star Wars has always been very solid. It's
I mean, this time around they voiced the characters, and a lot of the characters, including the current like sequel trilogy characters, have a lot of really on point satirical dialogue. So it's like the kind of it's that kind of rare. This franchise is making fun of itself in a really fun way, kind of thing.
My favorite is you can get an achievement / trophy for, you know, the in episode 4 when Han's having the conversation and he shoots the microphone because he doesn't know what to do.
Anyway.
Yeah, the trophy is called boring conversation anyway because you don't have to shoot it. The conversation just keeps going, but if you interrupt it and shoot it, you get an achievement that just says boring conversation anyway.
Yes. Oh man. But I mean, like, Lego Star Wars, in all the Legos game, really, they're all good. It's just they're all super similar, and it's so like, and they came out.
Your favorite Lego game is the one that has your favorite skin over it.
Yeah. I mean, it's much slower now than it used to be, because there used to be like a new Lego game every year.
Yeah.
So it was like, do you like Harry Potter, or do you like Star Wars, or do you like Indiana Jones, or do you like the MCU, or do you like Batman? It's like you pick your favorite one of those, and that's your favorite Lego game.
Yeah, I just feel like they're finally trying to put like more effort into that than they used to, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it doesn't always have to be the Nintendo award. I think that even they could have even just found some better choices, because like, I don't think anybody cared about Switch Sports. Was there an unseen casual audience that bought Switch Sports that I don't know about? Hold on.
It was pretty much just Nintendo trying to recapture the supposed magic of Wii
apparently
Sports,
it sold 4.8 million copies as of June 30th.
Interesting.
So apparently people bought it. Okay. Sure.
I think that might actually, like, is that counting like bundles?
I don't think it came with the Switch. Like, I don't think any Switches came with it.
I think there was one. Let me check.
I don't think. I think most Switch bundles are just Mario Kart.
Switch Sports bundle.
Yeah.
Because we got to keep inflating Mario Kart's number.
I mean, if it keeps on making DLC as good as the booster course is, then I don't care. They finally added in an item select after 5 years. So not 5 years. When did Mario Kart 8 come out on Wii U?
Like 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah,
okay. What I was thinking of was the big ass accessory looking box that the game comes with, because yeah, it does. I don't know why. It's just really big. It includes a leg strap.
Yeah, so that you can play soccer.
Kick your balls. Yeah.
And then there's like all kinds of like tennis racket and golf club and Master Sword looking peripherals that you can get for the Joy-Cons.
You know what my favorite part of the Wii era was? Useless plastic. I love useless plastic. It's the best.
It was great buying a gun-shaped peripheral so I could play Resident Evil 4, and then realizing that the Wii version of Resident Evil 4 doesn't even use the trigger for the gun.
Yeah, it uses the A button. I remember trying to put in Metroid Prime 3 with the Wii Zapper. And then when I shoot the trigger, Samus starts jumping, and I'm like, oh.
Say apple. Oh. No, that's jumping. Say apple. Okay.